That's the enchilada.
Use this and I'll turn your
We're going to do Mexican food tonight, and we have done some Mexican foods before for some of you, so it'll be a repeat on some of it. But I'm going to do three new things this time: chicken fajitas, chili rellenos, and Monterey Jack cheese. And they're all vegan. So I'll do the fajitas first. If you want to turn to that page. The vegan chicken roast, if you'll slice it about 1/4 inch across the roast, and then slice it crosswise at 1/4 inch piece of slices, then it'll look like this. And this has been seasoned already with the fajita. Did you pick up a copy of the fajita seasoning? Okay, because it's a separate sheet over there. So you just want to brown that. And then peppers. And you can use green, red, yellow, orange bell peppers. And you want to slice them, cut them in half, take the seeds and stem off, and then slice them about 1/4 inch thick lengthwise. So tonight we're going to have enchiladas, tacos, chili rellenos, chicken fajitas, and pico de gallo, coleslaw. Huh? Oh, and Spanish rice, yes. I was going to put a flan recipe in there, but I thought it was too much work. Especially after a holiday meal. I do have a vegan flan. It's a non-bake, and you can crystallize or caramelize the sugar on top, raw sugar, with the flame, and it looks just like the real thing, only it's not cooked. Okay, while that's cooking, chili rellenos, are made out of a poblano pepper, which looks like this. Do you know how to roast peppers? Okay, take the whole pepper. You can either do it under a broiler, but I prefer to do it on an open flame. And all you do is lay the pepper with a pair of tongs, metal tongs, and lay it on top of the flame, and you cook it until it gets black all over. And you'll see there's a little bit, if anybody wants to come up and look at it, they can. But there's little bits of black on there. And then once you've blackened it, take a paring knife, and you go around the stem of it, and cut it out, put it under the faucet. And the easiest way to get the skin off is under cold running water. Just rub the skin off, and then wash the seeds out. If you like your peppers hot, leave the seeds in, because it can get really hot. If you don't like it hot, wash them all out. And traditionally, they're stuffed with Monterey Jack cheese. And I'm going to demonstrate that. I decided at the last minute to demonstrate that, so I'll do that one. And Jennifer Flores had asked me months ago to develop a recipe for a chili relleno that did not use eggs. Well, I came up with a recipe of flour, because I used it for my Chinese ginger beef, and I just thinned it down a little more for the peppers. But, and I gave the recipe in there for the batter. It's flour, cornstarch, a little kawa namak, which is Himalayan black salt, and If anybody's interested, I have it back there, so I'll bring it out so you can see it. And you can get it from Amazon. You want to use it a tiny little bit. How many people make scrambled tofu for scrambled eggs? Okay, if you put just a pinch of that in there, you can make an egg salad out of it or scrambled eggs, and it tastes like real eggs. You won't know the difference. What? It's called Himalayan black salt or kala namak. Yeah. It has a real strong sulfur smell to it. Oh, thank you.
Peppers directly over the fire.
Yes.
If your gratings over your stove are too widely spread apart, do they make like a wire mesh you can put on top so the peppers don't fall down?
I don't know. I was cooking for somebody, and their grates were really wide, so I had to hold them there with the tongs.
Oh, okay.
Because they kept falling through the grates.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah. I would imagine if you put a wire down there, you'd probably burn it or warp it, unless it was something made heavy especially for the stove.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything like that.
I'll be on the lookout in case there is something.
Okay, let me know. Okay. Once you've
For the barbecue pits, you could put, they used to make them for barbecue pits where you put a piece of fish inside and it clamps on both sides.
Oh, yes.
You could probably do that for the peppers.
You might. It might work.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to cut your vegan cheese into about a 1 inch by 1 inch strip, and I used this plastic mold. It comes in a set of 4 at Walmart. I think it was 4 something, and it will hold a pound of Monterey Jack cheese. So we just slice it across this way and slice it in half this way, and that's how we got our strips. And you just want to stick it down inside and dredge it in some flour.
If you need to see, stand up or go around over there.
Yeah, you can come look if you want to. Pardon? That is Himalayan black salt. Here, just pass it around if anybody wants to, and you can take a whiff of it. It smells like sulfur.
Would you put 2 pieces of the vegan cheese inside of each poblano pepper or 1?
I put 1.
Okay.
Yeah. You probably could put 2, but it'll probably melt out everywhere. Sorry. It doesn't need to get completely browned on the sides. Just cook it so it's the batter is done. Does anybody here like fried green tomatoes? Okay, I love them. I could eat them forever. I used this batter on fried green tomatoes a couple of days ago, and they came out really good, as if they had been dipped in eggs. They were really nice. I never have, no. Have you eaten red tomatoes? Oh, okay. The only way I've eaten red tomatoes breaded was with bread. They were stewed with bread cubes. My grandmother used to do them that way. Yeah, I think onions and garlic or something. Yeah, they were really good. And after you get this batter dried, you want to put it in a pan and put it in the oven at 350 for about 30 minutes. Okay, I'm going to turn this off. And basically, it will look like this when you get through frying it. If you're using egg, it will brown better, but it doesn't brown as well if it's not egg. This is kind of like a tempura batter. So, okay, the vegan cheese is made out of kappa carrageenan, which is a seaweed, and soy milk. Pardon? What?
How long to cook them in the oven?
About 30 minutes. Yeah, 350. Yeah. We have 3 pans of them in the oven now. Okay. Well, we almost have enough for everybody to have one. We were expecting more, like 75, 80 people, so I was going to have to cut them in thirds. So they're big peppers, so we can cut them in half. It'll take this just a minute to heat up. You want...
Fry 'em in the skillet first, and then you put them in the oven for 30 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Because all you want to do is cook the batter a little bit. But when you put them in the oven, it melts the cheese inside. Before you make vegan cheeses, make sure you have everything measured out, because once it starts to set up, it goes really fast. So I'm going to go ahead and put the soy milk in. It's 1 1/3 cups. And if anybody wants to look at these packets, they can. There's lactic acid, and it's a vegan-sourced lactic acid. And the kappa carrageenan is a type of seaweed, and it allows the cheese to thicken up. And then tapioca starch goes in it. So you want to mix the soy milk, the tapioca starch. I buy it from Winco in the bulk bins. They've got cornstarch, tapioca starch, and potato starch. Some cheeses use potato starch, but and I've never tried any of those, but I like the tapioca starch.
And that's different than flour, right?
It is, yes. Sometimes they call it tapioca flour, but it's actually a starch. Oh, yeah. Just like I always thought corn flour was something different too, but in Asia and the Middle East they call it corn flour, and we call it cornstarch. Same thing. Okay, and then the nutritional yeast flakes, and that'll give it a cheesy flavor. This is the kappa carrageenan and the Celtic salt. Now, you do not want to add your acids, whether it's vinegar, lemon juice, or a combination of the two, along with the lactic acid. So you mix your vinegar or lemon juice with the lactic acid, and you put, that's what's in this little bowl, and then the melted coconut oil is here. Joy, could you bring me a measuring spoon, please? I'm sorry.
What's ACV?
What? ACV, apple cider vinegar.
But you can use lemon juice instead.
You can use lemon juice. It will not have the same flavor. There's something about lactic acid and apple cider vinegar, and I use the raw natural apple cider vinegar. Oh, thank you. There's something about the combination of two of those that gives it more of a cheese tang. I don't know what it is. I've made it with plain lemon juice. I've made it with plain apple cider vinegar, and what I made here earlier had 1 of apple cider vinegar and 1 of lemon.
It's a mixture.
What?
Part lemon juice and part apple cider vinegar?
Yes.
When you did?
Yeah. Okay. I get it from Amazon. Yeah. There's a package up here if anybody wants to. Actually, here, Rhonda, you want to just pass those around? It's a little slower on a hot mat, but it'll pick up here in a minute. When it starts to thicken up as you're stirring it, it's getting thicker and thicker. It's gonna look like it's curdling. It's gonna get really lumpy and curdled, and don't worry about it, that's normal. It'll happen. And you just keep on stirring, and it will all, how many of you have ever made popovers? No? It's, I haven't made them since the 70s probably, and we were vegetarians, and we were using, they're made out of eggs. They're made out of butter and flour, and you mix it all together in a pan, and then you add 4 eggs, one at a time, and you beat them up really good after each one. And this gets shiny and silky like the popovers did. So when I was doing this, it reminded me of popovers. I absolutely love those things.
Is that sort of like a dumpling?
No. It you put it in a large muffin or a small Pyrex, and you bake in the oven, and they pop up. So they
It's
get.
like a real big fluffy roll.
It is. It gets really big and fluffy. Yes, kind of crusty on the outside. You break it apart and put butter in it, even though it's loaded with butter. Those days are gone forever. I think probably cheese is one of the hardest things I've ever had to give up, because I love cheese and I loved dairy. I could easily drink a gallon of milk a day, but I drink soy milk now. Over a year ago, I weighed 235 pounds. I went on vegetarian keto diet, and then I switched over to a vegan diet. I lost 65 pounds, and I plateaued for the past 9 months. So I still have 50 pounds to go. So I'm getting back, and I did it by eating 2 meals a day, around 10 o'clock and around 4 in the afternoon, and absolutely nothing after supper. And it was a light supper. I cut my servings down immensely. And the weight just literally fell off. I couldn't believe it. So now I'm trying to get myself back in track and sticking strictly vegan, nothing, no dairy or anything.
So tell us about the Caribbean, which some of us have been told that it's not good for you.
There was a study done years ago, I think it was in the 50s or 60s, and it was a female scientist, and I read up on this. She took raw Kappa carrageenan, just took it out of the ocean and processed it. This has all been refined and everything. What she did was, it's almost like she was anti-seaweed. Yeah, so I haven't read anything harmful about this, any more so than agar is. But you cannot substitute agar for this. It will not set up right. I read one site, now this is, if anybody wants to come look at this, you can. It's starting to get lumpy.
So once it's ready, then you pour it into the mold and let it cool?
I do, and I sprayed that mold with some cooking spray. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And you want to beat it really good to make sure it's all incorporated. Sure. Once it begins to bubble around the edge of the pan, then you can add your acids in. And at that point, you need to stir it in as quickly as possible and dump it in the mold. And when you go to wash up your pan, it's going to dry. and some of it's gonna stick to the pan. It scrubs off fairly easily, but do not put it down your garbage disposal. It's kind of gummy, so I don't know what it would do to your garbage disposal, but I put it on a paper towel and I throw it in the trash.
In the mix, she started.
Okay, I'm gonna add the acids now. Let's see here. And I'm just stirring the lactic acid into the vinegar. It'll start to separate a little bit, and if you keep beating it vigorously, it'll go back. See, it's already starting to get a little stringy.
Looks like a fondue.
Sort of, yeah. It's just thicker, I think. Stick it in the refrigerator, cover it. And don't even try to smooth the top down because it's not going to smooth down. You can pat it a little bit if you want to, but it won't. It will not smooth. Yes, Walmart. I can't remember what it was called, but it comes in a set of 4.
Is it BPA free?
I think so. 2 of the girls ran and picked them up for me because we were looking for cheese molds, so I assume it probably was. Because I doubt they would buy anything that wasn't BPA. Yeah. Let me get the top for that. And I'd leave it sit in there for 12 to 24 hours. You can slice it. You can make grilled cheese sandwiches on it. It will melt. You can put it in the chili rellenos and put it in the oven. It will melt. You can shred it, let it get a little hard, and shred it. What we did today was not quite hard enough, but it's still shredded. So we made the enchiladas with it.
And what kind of cheese is that supposed to imitate?
Monterey Jack.
Monterey Jack.
And if you want to, you can mince up a jalapeno, ouch, and some red pepper flakes, and saute the jalapeno. And just as you're adding your oil and you're in there, then add your peppers. And I would use the coconut oil, because I wrote olive oil down there, but I would use coconut oil. That was a mistake. There are several typos in that. Like I misspelled pumpkin. Could you use Celtic salt instead of black?
You have Celtic salt written on here, could you use the black salt?
Right.
Could you use the black salt, give it that cheesy, buttery flavor?
The culinary mac is just egg. You could experiment and try, but I don't. Yeah, try it and see. But if you do it, only do a pinch, maybe like 1/8 of a teaspoon, or it'll get nasty. Yeah. Any questions? Yes?
Yeah, so on this, did you put the jalapeno and the red pepper flakes in this one?
I did not, no.
Okay.
In fact, what I made for this class, I did not put the peppers in.
So one you had for, I got to taste the other day as a sample, it did not have the jalapeno and the red pepper flakes.
It had the red pepper flakes in it, but not the jalapeno.
So they gave, the red pepper flakes the other day gave it just that little tiny bite without being it super
Yeah.
spicy.
Yeah, you can do both or either one.
Okay.
Yeah. How much what? I think it was 1.5 teaspoons. Should be at the very top of the recipe. Oh, no, I did not put them in tonight, no. And I didn't put them in I made 10 pounds of it yesterday and this morning. I got here 4:30 this morning and finished up 6 pounds of cheese. So, yes?
What is pepper cheese?
Oh, fresh ground black pepper. That's optional. If you don't want to put it in, don't. I do use black pepper occasionally because it contains piperin, and because I take turmeric for inflammation, and the curcumin in the turmeric stops inflammation, but it's the piperin in the black pepper that causes the curcumin to be absorbed by your body. Without the two together, they're not absorbed well. So I do use it some.
Celtic salt is different than Himalayan salt.
It is. Celtic salt comes from southern France in the ocean. Yeah. And it has a few more minerals than Himalayan salt does. Actually, did any of you see Barbara's seminar? Okay, because she was saying if you take one little piece of Celtic salt, and did this go around? Have you guys seen Celtic salt? Okay, if you take just one of those little crystals and put it in a glass of water and drink it 8 times a day, you're getting a lot of minerals. That's something like 84, 86 minerals you're getting. And the salt does not affect your blood pressure the way that table salt does. So, somebody had a question?
To 8 ounces of water?
1 crystal to 8 ounces of water. You probably wouldn't even taste it.
To get your minerals.
I know Joy sticks it on her tongue and then just drinks the water down. Yes?
On your vegan newsletter recipe, what does TVP stand for?
Oh, textured vegetable protein. And I get that in the bulk bins at Winco. It's in a dispenser at the top above the bulk bins. And it's like ground beef. We're going to have some in the enchiladas tonight, and we're having some for the tacos. Uh-huh. Any other questions?
Why did you say you couldn't substitute?
Auger? Because it won't stretch and it won't work the same as Capicarigine. Auger makes a more solid cheese, and we used to make a type of American type cheese in the 70s with auger and pimento, and the pimento made it kind of an orange color. Had nutritional yeast in it, but they used to call it brewer's yeast back then. And I think it was soy milk. I can't remember. No, it doesn't melt like this will. And putting the tapioca starch in allows it to stretch also. If you're interested in a cheese recipe that has, like American cheese, that has auger, we have one from an earlier class, so I can get it for you. Any other questions? Heidi, did you have a question? Oh, okay. Okay, then are we ready to eat? Or else fix a plate and take it home.
Is that unflavored soy?
It is unflavored, yes. I don't like the flavored soy. And I got that at Costco. I usually buy 2 cases at a time. And it's really good. It's been good for me. If you're going to go on a keto diet, that's not probably, it only has 4 carbs. But if you want to go on a keto diet, use almond milk, because it has 1 gram of carbs and has 1 gram of fiber, so they cancel each other out. So you can have a glass of almond milk without worrying about carbs. Any other questions?
I never see a lot of protein in almond milk.
Probably doesn't have a whole lot.
That's soy though.
Let's see. This has 8 grams per cup.
But the almond milk.
That I don't remember what it has. I think the soy has more. Yeah.
So are you talking about canceling in the soy, or the almond milk cancels each other out?
The almond milk does. Yeah. And I like almond milk, but I prefer soy. Yeah. Because it's more like dairy milk.
Is that non-GMO?
It is, yes. It's organic. And I think, I think it's non-GMO. Maybe not. Well,
I think there is,
Well, if it says organic,
what?
just because it's organic doesn't mean it's.
No, it does not mean it's not
There is
GMO.
a West Soy. West Soy, they sell it at Walmart, and it's non-GMO.
Oh, okay.
But it'd be nice to have something at Costco that.
I know. They might have one. I know they have a vanilla flavored one, but I got that by accident one time, and I don't like it. Any other questions? Okay, then we'll start getting the food out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.